Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of I2I. In today's episode, I am extremely honored and pleased to welcome a very talented podcaster, Omkar Chaudhari, who's the host of How's the Josh. So he started his journey with engineering and then moved on to the field of podcasting. In this episode, he walks us through the life of a podcaster, what is exactly a podcast, how do we go about it, the entrepreneurial journey, the switch from engineering to podcasting, and many more things. So let's test the Josh of our host of How's the Josh, Mr. Omkar Chaudhari. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3. Today we have with us Omkar.
Hello everyone.
So Omkar, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me over.
So Omkar, everyone wants to know your journey. You started off with engineering and you went on to a completely different field. So you let us know from the beginning, from engineering, what was your thought process and how you went about it?
Absolutely. I mean, talking about the journey has been superb. It has been quite enriching. And one thing that I learned throughout the entire journey, it's like, you should not ever at all aim for the perfection. It's the progress that matters. And when I was in the engineering, like many of the engineers would definitely relate to me, got into a bigger college. I don't know how many rooms are there, where to go, big, everything is so big. And somewhere I just got lost in the entire world for the very first year. Second year is wherein I started discovering myself. Like, I'm good at communicating with people or being around with the people, good with presentations. And that's wherein I got into several committees. I explored myself. And during the fourth sem, we have a lot of projects and assignments. And that time, you sort of plug in your earphones and keep writing those assignments and stuff. So that time, I just came across this Anupama Chopra, Rupain Paul's podcast show. It was quite new back then, in 2018 or something, 2018, 2019. And I enjoyed those intellectual conversations, those conversations, the fun conversations basically. And I felt like, I'm a kind of a person who likes to chit chat a lot. So definitely it was my wish that, I want to get into something wherein I have intelligent conversations, I'm talking to great people and it looks cool, And that's wherein I started the thought, I should do something. I didn't know it's called as a podcast. This is how, or it will scale up to this particular thing. It was just a lot of melange of thoughts that I had in my mind. And I called this company called as Audio Boom. There's Umesh, this guy. And he asked me, Omkar, what's your thought process? Just a naive kid, 17-year-old, 19-year-old, didn't know how to communicate, how to pitch forward my idea. I said that, I'll randomly have conversations with YouTubers. Even he understood. He's a naive kid and he wants to explore something. He was kind enough. He said that, sure, I'll get you with your account and you get started with the entire journey. And the very first guest, I didn't even have that fear, how should I approach? It was Komal Natha. I straight away called him. I got his number from one of my friends. And I said, hello Komal sir, this is Omkar and I'm starting a new show and I want you to be on my show as the show opener. That was a confidence and I think that confidence really helped me a long way without even thinking that, should I actually call him for the very first guest? Right. Yeah, and the thing is that it was an interesting story therein and I'll cut back to that story later. And that's wherein I started doing. That was my season 1. Then I had Tapsi Pannu, then I had Suraj Pancholi, and things kept on happening. Great YouTubers, Sejal Kumar. It was amazing having YouTubers, entrepreneurs. Then went to season 2, currently diving in season 3 and trying to switch to season 4. So absolutely an enriching journey, I would say.
So during your engineering, and this is the thought of most engineers, you are interested in one thing. In your case, it was podcast and the society. It's like you're an engineer, they expect you to do something in engineering.
Absolutely.
But you found your calling.
Right.
You knew that podcast is my way to go. First of all, it's a very niche thing. Especially podcast is developing now.
Right.
At your time, it might be even at a nascent stage.
Absolutely.
So what made you so sure that podcasting is the way to go? And also, how did you handle, especially your parents and society, that this is not the line I want to pursue in engineering. Even though I've taken engineering, this is not what I would like to pursue.
Yeah.
So did you have any internal battle as well, or you were sure shot about it?
Well, when I was into that entire journey, I never thought of it as a bigger picture, like, how it would be exploring into, or how I explore after my engineering or something. I just kept going. And when it comes to talking to parents, definitely it was a little bit difficult for them to convince and, like, tell them, like, this is also a good thing to do. But I never felt like, they interfered so much into my life, wherein I really had to sit and have conversations with them. So being a Sindhi guy, they are always busy into their stuff, and I'm busy into my stuff. So parents ka kabhi itna issue nahi tha. And again, talking about my family, I don't have any relatives as such that will come and prick their nose in between, like, you tum ye kyun kar rahe ho, wo karna chahiye. So that was an add-on benefit. Pros and cons. So the pros were this, that they never interfered. So all I had to do is on my own. All I had to do is believe my instincts, network, and keep growing. And as and when I kept growing, I felt like, it's somewhere going on a good path. Like, I could see that 100k listenership, then 200k listenership, next crossing 1 million, now reaching out to 3 millions. It's quite intriguing. And like, that entire thing sort of path folded me into something magnificent, and it was quite an immersive experience, I would say.
So I think for you it will be the first mover's advantage because you did not know and it was new.
Right.
But for the people who are listening, podcast is a very vague word even for them. So if you could tell them like what exactly is podcasting, and if they want to enter into that journey, like what are the do's and don'ts? Maybe you have burnt your fingers in many aspects.
Right.
So if you can tell them that these are the do's and these are the don'ts, so they can get a better picture of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So talking about podcasting, many people, as you said, it might be a vague word. Just to put it in the layman's language, I would say it's like a digital radio. So probably we are having conversations and it's an audio conversation. And right now at this point of time, you're not free. Okay, probably you want to listen while you're traveling, while you're communicating, commuting to your workplace, or maybe during the gym time, yoga sessions. That time you can just switch on to that. So podcast is nothing but a digital radio, a radio 2.0. That's what podcast is all about. And you can get your podcast from any of the music sources. Like you'll have Spotify, you have Apple, iTunes, Hubhopper, a lot of Anchor. Everywhere right now they are distributing music, as well as they are distributing these audio shows. And the best part about podcasting is, like, no offense to YouTube, YouTube is doing great, people are earning great, and people say that it's saturated, but then too people are making money and it is selling what you see. But I would say when it comes to podcasting, yes, it's in the naive stage, things are growing in podcasting. YouTube has a lot of efforts into it, like you need to shoot, you need to edit it properly, you need to put it across. But when it comes to podcasting, I think it's very minimal because it's an audio thing. So that's a plus point over here. And the do's and don'ts are only one thing: don't overthink, just keep it. Like, just keep going. I think I remember this very beautiful quote what Sejal Kumar said when I was interviewing her. She told me, Omkar, zyada se zyada kya hoga? It will be the product will be bad and I won't like it. And we always have a delete button. We can always, get back to the normal stage and get going. So even I would say the same thing. Stop overthinking about it. Yaar, अच्छा बनेगा कि नहीं बनेगा? Quality कैसी होगी? Other people actually want to listen to me? Is the content really going to be viable? Don't think about all these things. Start doing it. You have a mic. I mean, any of the phones right now that we have, they all have good quality. So just get a friend on as a guest, get started with him. And then you'll understand, cricket is my passion. Start interacting with cricketers or sportsmen out there. Fitness is your calling. So it's like, we have different topics to explore. It's in the naive stage, less of editing work, less of hectic work. So it's like you can have your 9-to-5 job as well as balance this hobby with it. So absolutely amazing.
So suppose a person wants to have a monologue, like just wants to talk about a particular topic.
Right.
Will that also be counted as a podcast? Absolutely. Can the person do it? Or for example, storytelling is hobby of many people, but they don't know podcast is a channel. So can they get started with it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of my friend Madhav, okay, I definitely call him like Big B of podcasting because he has been crossing 100k way earlier than when I crossed that. So he has been doing this solo podcast. So what you said right now, it's a monologue. It is called as a solo podcast. So solo podcasts are also being getting sold in the market and for a very good price. So definitely solo podcasting is amazing. You talk about various topics, you talk about different stories, and absolutely it's a fantastic thing to cover all of these things. And more you bring into the market, more it gets sold because people are getting different dimensions out there.
You have chosen the area of podcasting mainly as a page 3, that is B-Town Celebs, and that in India is one of the most talked about and searched about topics. Yeah. So I think you found that niche.
I found it.
So how has that experience been compared to, say, a normal sports field? Because B-Town is filled with all its masala and glory.
Right.
So how has your experience been, or what would you say as a first-hand experience for the B-Town celebs?
Right. So like B-Town Talab, as you said, like it's full of masala and fun and masti. Like talking about me, I'm a kind of an atrangiri person. Okay, I always enjoy doing something out of the box. Like going on a beach, just dancing and waving around with the friends is something that I don't care what people talk about it, because at the end of the day, it's about what you enjoy that matters. And right from the beginning, dancing to the songs or probably even watching all the Bollywood films, like Student of the Year, I don't know, it's my personal favorite till the date. That all that mirchi masala, that always caught my attention, and that was like kind of a magnet for me, that I want to go there and stick around. And as you said, in India only two things work: one is the cricket, the other one is Bollywood. So it was more simpler for me to promote it and market it, because many people said that, Omkar, how do you market it? I never go to the WhatsApp chat and send my podcast episode to everyone. I feel like it's like a spamming. Because, every time they know that har ek week mein tumhara ye message aane wala hai, so probably they'll just see it and they will exit it. So what I believe is this word-to-word marketing that goes around, or the picture when they see Moni Roy or they see Manushree Chillar with me, I think that's what excites them, like what conversation it is. And again, the content, it drives the people. So Bollywood is a little bit tough when you try to get into it in the initial stages, but slowly and steadily when you make PR your friends, I think it's easier to go there and deep dive into it.
You have taken B-Town. If not B-Town, are you looking at going into some other vertical? And also, say 2-3 years down the line, do you see yourself expanding into more verticals of podcast, or you want to do the same B-Town celebs itself?
Talking about House of Josh, when I started it for the very first season, it was an amalgamation of both, like having a B-Town celebrities as well as having entrepreneurs, and that's what I scaled up. Even till the date, I'm scaling up to like having great entrepreneurs as well as having the B-Town celebrities. B-Town celebrities are somewhere when you have that atrangi masala and a lot of fun, and you talk about films, art and culture. And when I talk about entrepreneurs, I actually understand the economic situations, or I understand the problems and how these guys are dealing with it, and what are the different technologies these guys are coming up in order to pervade or in order to serve the problems that are prevailing in the society, and how they are making money out of it. So in a way, if you see, House of Josh has got everything under a roof. You want something masala entertainment, as well as if you want smart conversations, we have both of the worlds.
For the viewers who have not watched How's the Josh, it's a very interesting podcast, and I would like to congratulate you, because the questions that you ask very thought-provoking. So even though you say it's masala, but even the B-Town celebs are forced to think, and the conversation, like you said, is very enriching. So I have put the links in the description. I would request all of you to go and hear it out. Maybe you will also get an interest in podcasting, because it's a very, very upcoming field. And with that, I'll ask him the next question, which I feel you viewers will like it a lot. If you could get any 3 celebs into your podcast, who would you select and why?
Okay, that's an intelligent one. So very first one, it has to be Alia Bhatt, because she's the most talked about. So that's the one. Second one would be definitely Tom Holland. I definitely like him for his acting skills. And third one, Big B. Amitabh sir has to be definitely being a part of the show. I think this thing is really going to hype up the show. And definitely going to serve the purpose.
Right. In fact, for people who do not know, he has national plus international guests. So he has forayed into the international forum as well. So the guests are not limited to the national audience. So how has that journey been, reaching out to international celebrities?
Yes, when you talk about this Bollywood world and Indian celebrities, as well as season 3 was opened by Alex O'Neill, who is an American actor, and he has also been working into Indian films as well as Hollywood films. So talking to him, I felt like he's so grounded out there, because normally we tend to perceive like he's coming from Hollywood. Probably he would have that passion or probably that attitude wherein it would be difficult for me to converse with him or take out or extract information. But it was completely opposite to that. It was like quite easy going, breezy, and more time we spent together. I think it was much more like he could impart me with a lot of knowledge, and I felt like yes, today I'm taking back something from my studio, or probably if I'm shooting from home, like I'm carrying some values back home. And definitely reaching out to the PRs, convincing them is a bit of a tough nut to crack, but once you crack them, I think it's easy going.
Okay. Now I'll come to my next segment. In this segment, I will ask you a few questions, very spontaneous.
Okay, it's a kind of rapid fire?
It's rapid fire, but not that rapid. You can answer at your own pace, but a little quick.
Okay.
It's little thoughtful, okay?
Okay.
If you're given a choice to go back, in your life, to which point would you go, and would you still take up engineering?
I'll go back to the point wherein I did my 12th.
Okay.
Okay, and as you said that would I do engineering, I would definitely do, yes, I would do engineering, but the perspective that I would have, or the kind of mindset that I would have, that would be a little bit different, because I had to fight my internal battles even till the date. Because when you talk about the placement scenario, many of them are getting in Infosys, they are getting a package of 9 lakhs or 3 lakhs per annum, and you seem that they are settled, and here you're trying to struggle or trying to do something of your own. There's again a battle. You come out in the society, your brother is earning 80k, you're still not having a good amount in your hand to tell it to the people. And you talk about positions, you talk about money. I think there's definitely has to be an internal battle. But coming at this particular point, I feel like, everything around has to be balanced up. I feel if you're just doing for the sake of money, that doesn't really count. At the end of the day, what are you taking back as a person? Okay, and to that, I definitely don't want to make the conversation sad, but I got to hear a couple of my friends who are my batchmates, they expired because of different disease or something like that. So it brings me down to this point. Life is definitely you never know at what point of time you're saying bye to this beautiful world. So it's just going to be about working hard and earning, or it's also going to be working hard, earning plus having a lot of fun and enriching yourself throughout the entire journey. And I chose the later one. So for me, podcasting or imparting knowledge to the people, getting knowledge has always been a beautiful thing. It's kind of a GPS wherein I'm actually positioning myself and opening up my perspectives to understand the world and to live in the much better way. So definitely I would go and I'll do engineering, because it gave me an understanding about how do you handle 40 files or 35 files per semester, making me multitask and getting me all those different things. With the perspective that whatever you're doing is good, just stick to what you're doing and don't feel insecure about kitna kama rahe ho ya kya kamaoge. Money is going to come if you're enjoying what you do, and probably it will leave probably if you don't handle it well. So just enjoy and be in the moment. You're on the right track.
The next question. Do you ever see yourself doing a corporate job?
Corporate job, definitely no.
No. So that's the thing with all entrepreneurs. There is absolutely no two minds about it. It is always a no. It's always a no for a corporate job. Slight chance?
No.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay. That brings me to my third question. Okay. What is the best piece of advice you have received till date?
Best piece of advice? I think...
So I'll split it in two questions. What is the best piece of advice and what is the best piece of financial advice you have received?
Financial. Best piece of advice, I'll answer the first one. It's just try to keep a balance about what you're doing. Okay, you're trying to have fun in your life, definitely have it, but make sure that you're balancing it out somewhere. And what people say should never affect you. Because people, as we say, logon ka kaam hai kehna, let them say what they want to say about themselves, and you got to do your thing at the end of the day. Because if you fall ill, they're not going to come and pick you up. Okay, you got to pay your own bills. So stop looking at the people, balance out everything, and don't aim for perfection everywhere. Just make sure that you're progressing. I think these are the three things that I always keep closer to my heart.
Okay, well said. The next question. What are the top 3 things in your bucket list right now?
Top 3 things. I think having international tour, because it will give me greater exposure at the world and meeting new people. Second one would be to expand House of Josh, making it a grand scale one, wherein actually I can have some billboards out there stating it's Omkar Chaudhari's House of Josh. And the third one has to be something for the society, because you get things from the society and you need to give it back to them. So probably helping out an NGO, getting associated with them. That's always a good thing. You give back something to the society.
Okay. So Omkar, the next question. Which is your favorite board game?
It has to be chess.
And why?
And why? Because it sounds smart. Yeah, honestly speaking, I think Snake and Ladder has always been bachpan se very pyara. You don't have to use your brain. It's just you shake the dice and it rolls down, the number it comes and you have to... I think it's very cool, easy breezy.
Done.
Yeah, I sound smart, but I don't use that much.
The next question. Which is your favorite beverage?
Beverage, I think, depends upon whether it's a day or night.
Okay, we'll consider it as to be day.
Day. It has to be coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're the third guest in a row who has said coffee. So I think coffee wins hands down. And my last question in the rapid fire is, which is your favorite subject in school, or generally, which is your favorite subject?
Science. And that's the reason I got into teaching science. Yeah, it has to be. Because, when you talk about literature, it's like, a lot of essays and all. No doubt, I also teach literature. I got IEO, that is International English Olympiad. I crossed it with a golden medal. So, English, I think literature both, because here you get to learn about life, and in science you actually apply it. So, both, it's English and science.
So, in this world of YouTube, podcasting, the first word that comes to everyone's mind, especially when you're doing it, is validation.
Is validation, absolutely.
And when a new podcast or a new video is released, it's even for normal people who post on Instagram or Facebook, they keep checking how many likes, how many comments. It's the sense of validation.
It's the sense of validation.
So how important is validation? Is it a factor, or you have to completely ignore it if you want to go up?
I speak for myself, and probably that might be thought-provoking. So when it comes to validation, there are certain podcasts which hit 10K, 20K within few hours. Okay, probably if I'm interacting with a celebrity or a great entrepreneur. And there were certain podcasts which were also great, and they did not even reach 10K. So when it comes to validation, I do seek validation from myself within. I don't want others to validate me, because at the end of the day, definitely I look up to people, because it's a show business. I need to know where am I going, what am I doing. But at the end of the day, if I'm not able to justify myself for my act, I think then it's not a good thing. Okay, I need to be validating myself. Okay, whatever I did, I enjoyed this thing. It was good to ask him this question. It was, the entire journey was smooth enough. We had a great podcasting session. It's out there. People might like it, people might not like it. So very less I depend upon external validation. It's more of an internal validation, making your core stronger and internal beliefs more stronger, so that you are quite prominent over what you think about.
So if a podcast, say for example, you feel was very well made, and if it does not get the response you thought it would deserve.
It would deserve, right.
So there's a kind of insecurity that creeps in.
Absolutely.
So, that fear and insecurity, it's normal with every artist. So how do you handle that? Does it affect your day? Because initially, even in my days, not getting the response that I expected, somehow it affects the equilibrium.
Absolutely.
So how do you deal with it, and does it matter in the long run?
Good question again. So the thing is that talking about the equilibrium, initially when the podcast was in the season 1, season 2, when we were doing it, I definitely never looked at the charts, like what kind of listenership I'm getting. It was always about what I'm doing and the next guest, scheduling. I was always busy into my entire work, and when it hit 100K, that's when I thought, now I need to get serious. Now it's like somewhere people are validating it, and somewhere we are riding up the charts. I started getting into the best podcast of the month, August, September consecutively, and that's when I felt like now I really need to be on the pace, or rather check out how the things are going. And that's when you start thinking about all these things, now what if you run down the lane? You definitely have to run up the lane, but what if you run down the lane? That is an insecurity, and with insecurity comes the fear, and then your performance starts degrading, because you become very conscious about each and everything that you start doing it. So as you said, definitely I use the word balance. I can't go offbeat that much. I don't need people what they say. I'm just going to do my thing. That will definitely put me down. So there has to be a balance wherein I do use insecurity and fear to keep me on track if I'm getting lost somewhere. So it's a kind of a balance that I always try to prevail when I'm riding on my journey. So to some extent, it keeps me in equilibrium.
Well said. So if for all those people who are listening, now they're motivated, they want to start their own podcast. Right. Now, something to get them started, like you need to do this is the mandate, and this you can keep it for later. For example, I had Saurabh in the second episode. He said a very good thing, that you focus on the quality. Even if you have not the best gadgets, you start making quality, everything will follow. So I personally, when I meet people, especially who want to do a podcast, a video, they're like, I'll wait for a better camera, better equipment, better guest. So it's always some stop.
Right.
So if you really want it to get started, for example, a person wants to go into podcasting immediately, what are the things they need to have, and what are the things they don't need to bother about?
Yeah, so I think I definitely resonate with what Saurabh said. So it's like you already have it, but you need to go to the podcasting. I started out with a phone. Okay, I just had a normal phone and I used its speaker and the microphone in order to conduct interviews online, or probably even if I'm going offline, that's what I utilized it.
So phone with internet is enough to start podcast.
Absolutely. Phone with internet is absolutely enough. And slowly and steadily, when you progress, I think then you can have mics. Okay, so there's nothing much. As I said, when it comes to YouTube, probably you're worried about your audio, your video, your editing and stuff like that. But in podcasting, it's very simple. What you need is just a phone that can record your voice and it's all good to go. There's nothing much. You gotta do that.
Do you see podcast overtaking the video channel? Because most of the listeners or most of the audience right now, they actually listen to podcasts or they watch YouTube when they are doing something else. They are like multitasking. So like you said, they are gymming or they are driving. So do you think in future when people are busy, they would prefer a podcast over a video, or is it already happening?
I see it's already happening. Okay, because right now people are not only using this Spotify or Ghana, all these music distribution platform just for the music. They're also trying to inculcate, they're trying to grow. Because if you look at the corporate structure, everyone wants to sound smart. Everyone wants to be on the top of the ladder by making sure they create a good impression. So podcasts are something that definitely enriches your mind. Early in the morning, I see so many people traveling the train and they're listening to some of the other show, probably in their own language, vernacular language or something, and people are consuming the content. Especially even the friends of mine, the female friends of mine, probably when they're cooking or something, they'll try to see the parenting wala thing, how do you parent a kid. We have so much of podcasts in that category as well. So yes, definitely see, when it comes to the screen, we get really bored because 9 to 5 you're already in front of the computer. Again, coming back home and seeing a screen is really boring. So at times you want to do your work, you want to clean your house and you want to entertain yourself. Probably you can hear a comedy show, you can hear a romantic serial or an audio playbook. So things are growing. So audio playbook is also kind of a podcast and they are getting promoted and they are getting utilized. So definitely it is scaling up. It is scaling up and it's a tough competition to YouTube.
Okay. And now comes the golden question.
Oh, what is that?
YouTube monetization is a known thing. It's a well-treaded path.
Yeah.
Podcast and monetization. So when I spoke to a few people, they said podcast is good, it's entertaining. But as a podcaster, can I do it as is, standalone, and will I be financially secure? So I wanted to ask you, if you do it well, like you're doing it, do you need to do something else like a side hustle, or is podcasting more than enough to secure a financial journey?
Well, I'll be really honest. At this point of time, looking at the Indian markets and the strategy that Indian advertising companies are putting into, they feel that visuals are more entertaining and appealing than an audio thing. And podcast is limited to just audio. So they will invest into podcast, but in a lesser price. Okay, then they invest in YouTube or maybe billboards or something that has audio visual both. So if you're looking forward to just stand alone as a podcaster, I think that's not a good choice. Okay, probably if you have some more side hustle, that's definitely going to add up and make you even more encouraged to do your podcast. So podcasts are getting monetized, yes, that's very true. Brand sponsorships you all are getting, but it is lesser as compared to what YouTubers are doing, because they're giving two things, right? They're giving audio as well as a visual. You're just giving an audio, and that's the reason the rates are getting a bit reduced, slightly diced up. So standalone is not a good thing. Okay, and as I said, there's not much that you do for even podcasting. You just record it, you edit it within like 20 minutes, and you push it across. So you have rest of the time which is empty. So probably you can just be a coach, be a mentor.
Well said, well said. So Omkar, run us through, like how is it in a day of being Omkar? Like how do you start your day? What do you do?
Alright, so normally I just wake up, and the thing is that I definitely promote drinking a lot of water, so like having some more water and probably going out for a workout. And the fact that I stay in Vasai and it's a lush green space wherein I have a lot of multiple options, going to a beach probably for a cycling or going for mountaineering or something like that, which is nearby to my house. So that's what I usually indulge myself into. When I come back home, after that I leave for the college wherein I teach. Okay, I probably teach physics. Probably no, I definitely teach physics. And once I come back from the college, I have a space wherein I definitely get into a zone wherein I'm researching about which are the next celebrities that I want to interview. I sort of strategize my entire concept, like what are the questions that I want to ask or what are the conversations that I want to hold. And Then we have the shooting. We start shooting. Probably I'm traveling to the studios, or probably it's an online interview that happens. And after that, I lock my day around 9 o'clock somewhere, and then it's the family time, having fun, friends, fun, stuff like that, food and all. And I just ended up.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks very decent, but it's not like that.
I got it with the end. What do you mean? How do you measure success?
Do you really measure success?
You can. If it's tangible, you do it. Like every person has a different definition of success.
Yeah.
So how do you measure it?
Yeah, so for me, definitely it is not only about money. Money, definitely how much money you bring on table, that really matters, because at the end of the day, people will look forward to that only. They look forward to your account balance or how much you hold in your demat account. Okay, that really matters. But for me, it's definitely what difference I make. I think that is also important. Throughout my entire journey, being a professor or being into corporate job, previously when I was into engineering, I was doing side-by-side corporate job, or also as a podcaster, the kind of difference that I've created and the kind of compliments or the repercussions of that I've received, I think that has always created a difference. Many people say that, oh no, Omkar, this episode I listened to it and that gave me a new perspective. और बच्चे बोलते हैं कि like sir आप बहुत cool हो, आप बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाते हो and हमने आपका podcast देखा. I think that is what creating a difference to me, and that is what encourages me. So it's like once you get the success, you want to taste it more, because success tastes sweet. That's the thing. And so money is one of the part of it, and definitely the difference that I make to the people and the kind of aura that I create around, I think that is phenomenal, and that's what keeps me going.
So Omkar, before we end this, to the viewers who are waiting to start,
Right.
so just we need your guidance to tell them how do we start and let them go.
Acha, like you want the trade secret?
The secret sauce, yes.
Oh my god, like trade secrets are not easily spilled.
But in this show, I think for our viewers.
Alright, so I think if you really want to do it, it's like, at the end of the day, it's in your mind that, I want to do it. So what's stopping you? You have a phone, you have a recorder, just go, get your friend, start podcasting, do 10 podcasts with your friends, the first 10 episodes, and probably you'll get a hang of it, and then start climbing on the guest list. And you are a podcaster, you are a star. There you go.
That's it up, guys. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Omkar, for coming
Thank
to
you
our
so
show.
much for having me. It was fun interacting with you.
Same here. It was very enriching, and I think the viewers also would agree.
Yeah.
The links to all his shows, plus the IG handle, is all there in the description. Thank you, guys.
Go check it out.